All right, peeps. On this new episode of the Kung Fu Genius, the Kung Fu Genius himself is going to have the worldly famous Bruce Willow. Lots of gems, lots of tit fu, and lots of Mikey D liking Phil Collins.
Lies.
Let's go for another episode right now.
And every day, I practice martial arts. Watch out!
Hey everyone, it's the Kung Fu Genius, and I got a special episode for you today. Instead of talking about Bruce Lee, well, we'll still talk about Bruce Lee, I suppose. Instead of talking about the normal Wing Chun stuff, I'm going to talk about another favorite topic of mine, Kung Fu movies, with one of my good friends, Bruce Willow. How you doing, man?
I'm good. It's great to be here in Astoria.
Astoria. Yes. It's good to have you
I only
here.
knew Astoria from Waldorf Astoria from Coming to America, but apparently it's all gibberish.
It's all gibberish.
It doesn't exist.
You're in the real Astoria right now.
Real
Yes,
Astoria.
yes. There
Great
also
place.
is there's also no McDowell's, by the way. Sorry to burst your bubble on that. But I thought, hey, who better than you to have you here to talk about Kung Fu movies? I'm certainly not going to do it with Dre or Mikey. I mean, geez. So
I'm sat right here, by the way.
Yes, yeah, right.
So today there will be lots of gems.
Yes. So instead of like in the past, we did like an episode on Bloodsport. We did an episode on like our favorite Bruce Lee characters. But I thought like let's kind of do a looser format, talking about maybe not just our favorites, but some of our least favorite Kung Fu movies, maybe some things we think that are overrated, some other things we might think are good. And hopefully we will disagree on most of it so we can argue for most of this episode.
I don't think we disagree on that many things, but okay.
I have to disagree with you on that.
Touche.
All right, so Mikey, what do you got for us?
Yeah, let's find out how much we disagree on this.
Mhm.
I'd like to say I'm putting myself out as Switzerland today.
Oh, you're neutral?
I am neutral.
Yeah, all right.
Yes,
We'll
I
see.
am.
We'll
It
see how
suits
far
you well.
that goes. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see. I know, very unlike an Englishman, but here you go. Anyway, so, gentlemen, worst martial arts fighters.
Ooh, worst martial art fighters.
From the movies, right?
Yes, from the films.
Yes, not like actual.
Yes.
Can I start?
Go ahead.
James Tien.
James Tien.
I just saw the whole new premium package, high quality 4K Bruce Lee collection, which is great, by the way. And Big Boss, you can definitely see the difference because they do. There's an extra section on the box set that has some of the scenes that were not included on Big Boss originally.
Right.
And you can see back to back James Tien fighting, Bruce Lee fighting, James Tien, and it's like, what am I watching here?
Yeah.
It's like how not to do, how to do, how not to do, how to do. Wow.
You can see why James Tien got pushed to the side once they got Bruce Lee there. It was like, we're going to go with this guy here. And his career never really recovered from, because he was going to be the original star for Big Boss. And then they got Bruce Lee and they pushed him to the side. And then he never really had a chance after that. And apparently from what you've seen, that's maybe a good thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Can you imagine like 5 years ago or something when I started doing my podcast, I found this guy called James Tien from Hong Kong on Instagram. And I sent him a message thinking that it was the James Tien. But it's some other guy who's like a politician. And Bill Logan told me, no, that's the wrong James Tien. Stop it now. Bruce, please, don't send him over. Okay. Sorry for making fun of the British. Yeah.
It's absolutely fine. He's Australian.
Do you remember that James Tien is in one of my favorite movies, Prodigal Son?
I did not remember that.
Yeah, so in the very first scene where they introduce Frankie Chan's character, the bad guy with the rings, they want to show how badass he is. And he gets challenged by someone whom he had beat 10 years prior and he destroyed his arm. And then so he had to train only with the other arm and he came back to challenge him. That was James Tien, by the way.
James Tien.
Yeah. So he came back as a one-arm fighter, apparently, after all that. So I would totally agree with you. I think this will come as no surprise to longtime listeners of the podcast. I think one of the worst movie fighters ever, David Carradine.
Yes.
I hope that's non-controversial. Right?
I never.
How dare you?
How dare you? I never totally get it when people say they love. I'm not sure I have heard people saying they love David Carradine, but
I've heard it.
Whenever love,
yes,
Oh.
people go ape shit about him.
oh my god,
Yeah.
Well, in his defense, wearing sandals is not easy to kick with, right?
Or being high on peyote or whatever.
Yeah,
whatever he
I
was
mean,
on.
but to think that Bruce Lee could have gotten that
Yeah.
is like, wow.
Well, I think Bruce Lee I mean, it wasn't the whole thing about David Carradine didn't steal that from Bruce Lee or whatever. And people
It's not his fault, obviously.
Yeah, people
I mean,
like confuse certain things, but I think it was good for Bruce Lee's career that he didn't end up doing TV and he ended up doing those movies instead. But yeah, I think the reason why a lot of people, they're usually people who are slightly older than we are, which I know is hard to imagine, especially for my daughters, to imagine anyone older than me.
yeah.
But it's the people who like their first exposure was David Carradine in the Kung Fu series. So you get what's known as the primacy effect. The first thing of something you see is usually the one that sticks out in your mind the most. So they saw Kung Fu through this TV show, so it had this much bigger effect on them. My dad rented like a couple back in the old VHS days. He got a few episodes of Kung Fu that were on VHS. And I had already seen Bruce Lee movies. And then I remember when I watched like the David Carradine Kung Fu as a kid, I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
This guy sucks. Like you can't go from Bruce Lee to
Yeah.
David Carradine, right? But there are people who are like, they're really excited about him. And as someone who's met him, I'm not excited about him for other reasons. He was kind of a douche
It
nozzle.
kind of
when I met
added
him.
to your disgust.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, that fight scene in Death Race 2000 when he, basically beats the crap out of Sylvester Stallone during one of the breaks in the race.
Oh.
Amazing.
Yes.
Okay.
One of my favorite lines, because he eventually David Carradine did a movie with Chuck Norris called Lone Wolf McQuade.
Yes, Lone Wolf McQuade.
And
Yes,
I
yes.
forgot he was in that.
That's right.
Yeah.
And David and Chuck Norris, much to his credit, unlike Steven Seagal and other people who cannot, have any self-deprecating humor, Chuck Norris said that David Carradine was as good of a martial artist as he was an actor, which I always thought that was pretty good.
And he's got this very soft hair in the movie, right? Like
Carradine does?
soft. Yeah, not soft, like
Greasy
very,
or oily or what?
No, very not flowy, but
Like straight. He has, like,
straight hair.
Yeah.
Very straight hair.
Wow. I don't.
Right?
I
Why
think
do
I
I,
just
why do
saw
I
it.
remember this about Wolf McQuade? Yeah,
It's because you have a pornographic memory.
no, it's
That's why.
because
So-
he's so good that I only focused on his hair.
all right. So we got James Tien. We got David Carradine.
Yeah,
Any other honorable mentions as far as worst fight?
Lee Van Cleef.
it's funny that you said that about the endearing of the first time you watch something,
Yes.
and that can screw you up for further investigations. Like
Right.
if you watch Jackie Chan first and then you watch Van Damme, it's not that Van Damme is not good, but it's like I've watched Jackie Chan.
Yes. Yes.
Especially in terms of fight choreography.
Right.
That happened to me. So I had seen Jackie Chan first, and only then I started watching Van Damme. So when I was like 14 or 15, I was like, Van Damme's no big deal.
Right.
Now I totally understand the idea about the charisma, the muscles, and the novelty aspect of someone who comes from Belgium and makes it big. And
Sure.
you know, and
Yes.
the idea of his style being something different, and how can a muscular guy do the splits and be so agile?
Right.
I totally understand that now,
Yeah.
but I had seen Wheels on Meals, so it's
Yes.
like, huh.
When you see that kind of speed of choreography and stunts and everything, and then
Yeah.
you go to the kind of slower pace stuff. By the way, I just got a notification that Viking Samurai's phone just blew up because you said you liked Jackie Chan better than Van Damme. So
Yeah.
his phone literally just
Literally
melted.
blew up. Yeah.
It
Let me just
exploded.
remind you of one scene in Bloodsport. You remember that one scene in Bloodsport where this guy jumps and gives an inside crescent kick?
And the guy spins the wrong way.
He spins the wrong way. So
Yes.
the kick goes on this direction and the guy starts to go in that direction. Yes, you're going well. And then it's like, "Ugh." And it's even in slow motion. So it's like, wow,
Yes.
you were going well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's not Van Damme.
Right. No. And he wasn't in that scene.
But
to
that
be-
was a
to
crappy
be-
moment.
but
That was like the
yes.
Taurus Award for a bad reaction.
Right,
to
right,
a
right, right.
strike.
Yes.
Huh.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
I was not kidding about Lee Van Cleef. Have either of you ever seen The Master?
Of course. Do you know The Master?
No.
So the Master
Master?
was a TV series
I can't
from the
believe
80s with Lee Van Cleef and Sho Kosugi. All right.
Mm.
And it seems like they kind of almost tried to copy the the kung fu format a little bit with like the Caucasian martial arts master.
Okay.
And Lee Van Cleef was a master of ninjutsu.
Uh-huh.
And then, so I remember watching these, although it's been like 40 years since I watched these. So if anyone is more up to date on me, like, I apologize. It's been a long time. He had like a son or a student that he was teaching ninjutsu to. And then Sho Kasugi was like a recurring villain in like every episode where he would come and try to do some bad ninja stuff.
Always Sho Kasugi.
Yeah, and it was before
funny.
Sho Kasugi got really big, and he was like the evil ninja, and then like Lee Van Cleef would have to come in and fight Lee Van Cleef. Not Ron Van Cleef, Lee Van Cleef would have to fight a prime Sho Kasugi. Okay.
Oh, and for the record, Sho
And always
Kasugi
win.
was also Lee Van Cleef's body double, if I remember correctly. So,
That would make sense.
it's like,
He would double for the guy fighting himself.
He could have got double wages. It's like, oh, okay, forget about it.
Yeah.
Let's put you doing everything. No, it does ring a bell, but I have
You should.
no
So when
recollection.
you get a chance, you should go on YouTube and type in
The
like Lee
Master.
Van Cleef, the master.
Wow.
Yeah. I do remember the one saving grace. I think it only lasted one season or maybe 8 episodes or something. And then they were out on VHS back in the 80s. And my
Yeah.
dad used to rent those for me. And they would have like on one cassette, there would be like 2 or 3 episodes because they're only like half an hour long. But at the beginning of every cassette, Sho Kasugi would demonstrate like a weapon or something like that. And that was, for me, that was the best part of the video. Sho
Okay.
Kasugi would come out and be like, these are the kama. And then he would give a little like brief history on it.
Oh,
He'd
nice.
do some form stuff. And then he would do like a live demonstration with someone and use it. And the next one was like spear or the ninja sword or like something else, right? And that was really dope. But I remember as a kid, we got into ninja movies. I'm sure we'll get into this topic a little bit later. Just going like, there's no way this Lee Van Cleef guy is, and I didn't know Lee Van Cleef from like the old Western. That's how I found out about him, right? And I'm like, there's no way this Lee Van Cleef guy can beat Sho Kasugi in anything. Yeah, it was wild.
fantastic.
Wild. What else you got for us, Mikey?
Hey everyone, just want to let you know Wing Chun Illustrated is now offering a paperback edition through Amazon, reaching a larger global market. And no, they're not ditching the glossy magazine edition through MagCloud. You can now simply choose the version of this magazine you prefer and the one with the cheapest shipping wherever you live. Order your copy of Wing Chun Illustrated today across 12 Amazon marketplaces with free shipping for Prime members. Go and check that out.
All right, yeah, moving on, right. So here we go. Gentlemen, worst martial arts films.
Oh, I would have to say probably anything with Jimmy Wang Yu. By the way, Jimmy Wang Yu could have also been on the previous list in terms of worst fighters.
Yes.
I don't get the Jimmy Wang Yu thing. I think it's another primacy effect. People who saw him first. I always thought Jimmy Wang Yu sucked. What do you think of Jimmy Wang Yu?
No, I remember kind of liking The Man from Hong Kong. I don't know why. Probably the soundtrack.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I'm not sure why people like Jimmy Wang Yu as well. I mean, I never felt anything. You know,
I get it like before Bruce Lee, right? Like in the late 60s. He made a couple movies. It was like a big deal.
I don't even find him that good looking. You know,
No, like
if
I
you
think
were
he was
good looking like Alexander Fusheng or something, but
Yes.
he was kind of regular, right?
Right. Yeah. I think it's like I didn't see what the appeal was. It wasn't
Yeah,
like
me
he
too.
wasn't like he was well built. He wasn't like a Bolo type.
No,
He wasn't like, super good looking like, Bolo or Samo Hung. He was like, just kidding. I like how you were like,
Like,
and I didn't find his martial arts skills anything to write home about. And then a few short years later, Bruce Lee comes on the scene. It's like, who cares about Jimmy Wang Yu, right? So,
now, in hindsight, it's always difficult to compare because Bruce Lee was such an amazing character,
right.
Such charisma, such intensity of his look.
Yes.
It's like one of those guys that doesn't even have to move, just the look. It's like, wow, it's something else.
Right.
It's like the image can't contain his
Yeah,
expression.
the
right?
scene from Enter the Dragon where
bursts.
everyone is fighting in the courtyard and Bruce is just standing there looking at
Yeah.
Han and all the chaos is going. There's all
Going
this stuff
around him.
going on.
Yeah.
And you are forced to just look right at him. Right. And he's just standing there like that. And like, I mean, who else had that?
Yeah,
like
he
really
looks
that
like
level?
he's not even trying. It's just like
Yeah.
just looking. I mean, it's so deep.
Yeah. It's incredible.
so
Incredible.
intense.
So wait, what was the question again?
Worst martial arts films.
Worst martial arts film. What do you think?
Worst martial arts film.
There's a lot of genres and subgenres where like, like when you get into the B movie stuff, you can almost just rattle them off. What was that crazy movie? Like everyone always reposts that fight scene with like, I know Cynthia Rothrock is in the movie, but and it's like this fight scene that's like so over the top and the acting is over the top and everyone is like yelling and screaming. And then the guy gets caught on the hook at the end, you know, like, and like, she's like, you know, good job, snake face or whatever. Like, what? Hold on. I'm gonna have to look this up.
I don't remember that one.
All right, hold on.
Goes
It's Undefeatable.
Undefeatable.
Yes, dude, you have to see the scene from Undefeatable. It is.
I'm not sure I remember that one.
So first of all, this scene like went viral because it's so over the top. And I have never seen the movie, but I can only tell from this fight scene that it just must be, the movie just must be a hot mess. And I love Cynthia, by the way. I think like I can't even say from experience, but I think like anything Jackie Chan has made in the last 10 years is more or less unwatchable. What do you think? I think I saw one movie he made with Johnny Knoxville and I was like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm done with like I'll just watch Jackie Chan's old films. Like,
I haven't been watching.
I can't watch any of this stuff.
I haven't been watching a lot of the recent stuff, but I can tell you that, for instance, there's a lot of movies that people like that I don't like very much. For example, Drunken Master 2. I'm not an amazing fan of Drunken Master 2. That's around the time when he started to use too much wire work. Oh, okay, another movie that people are gonna sacrifice me for that. Gorgeous. I don't like Gorgeous. I
like Gorgeous, but I can see where you would have an issue with it. I don't even
like the fight. I think it's too. I mean, I'm before that era. You know, to me, the '80s were the best. They could not go wrong from anywhere from Millionaire's Express to Eastern Condors to Dragons Forever to anything they did from Golden Harvest in the '80s had the rhythm that I like, and then they discovered the speeding up and the
undercranking and everything.
Undercranking a lot and a lot of wire work, and I don't like it when it's like it's too repetitive. It's I don't like it.
But I felt that Jackie Chan's use of wires was a lot more understated than, let's say, Once Upon a Time in China or Fong Sai-yuk or like that whole generation where like Wong Fei-hung is like flying through the air, right? I like when they use a little bit of wire work to just like mildly extend what's humanly possible. Or, for example, someone gets a head kick and then they pull the wire at the feet to make the effect even more powerful, right? Yeah. I like that stuff. I do agree that, well, the one thing about Drunken Master 2 and the fact that you don't like it is absolutely nuts.
It's not that the fights are not good. Obviously, they're good. Obviously, they're very special in a way, and Ken Lo is amazing. And the fight with Lau Garlung.
Yes.
Am I saying it right?
No.
Lau Garlung.
But I know who you're talking about.
the fight with Lau Garlung in the train, or outside the train is amazing. But but still, you know, after watching Drunken Master 1, I was expecting something among those lines, and there was a big hiatus between the two.
Right.
And that's when I saw the second one, and I was like, oh, I was expecting something different. And I remember feeling that as a kid. So it's not that it's not a good movie, it's just not to my taste.
Weird.
That's what I mean.
You're weird.
First time I've ever heard that about that movie. That's
really
incredible. Yeah. I've never I mean, well, definitely you know, Lau Ka-leung was the director and the fight choreographer, but him and Jackie Chan did not get along because you have the classic, you cannot have two tigers on one mountain problem, right? So about halfway through, Lau Ka-leung quit or was asked to leave or whatever it was. Yeah. And that's why they killed off his spoilers. That's why they killed off his character halfway through.
Oh, wow.
And that's why when you see the choreography after that moment, there's a lot more wires and a lot more of the modern action style, whereas the scenes previous to that, like the one under the train, is a lot more old school, tick, 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 because that was Lau Ka-leung doing his thing.
Yeah.
And then even when they had that big scene in the middle with all the stuntmen, right? And then after that, then you see, you know, when he gets drunk and then there's a lot more wires, and then the final fight scene, because that was then Jackie taking over. So there was a tonal shift, which when you know that little bit of gossip in that movie, you then go, okay, this is the point now where Jackie took over the choreography, right? And but I still feel that he he did it like at the edge of believability, just yet being like popping up from the single leg stance a little faster than any human can, or like leaning back a little bit longer, just staying in the air slightly longer. I thought it was okay because at that time, if you compare it to a film like Fong Sai-yuk with Jet Li, then you would go like, okay, it's quite understated. And then as far as the undercranking, when you compare it to like Fist of Legend, it wasn't as undercranked as Fist of Legend was.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Which is one of my only complaints about that movie, is that it was just a little too undercranked.
Okay.
By the way, what do you think of Fist of Legend?
Then I'll keep up with the controversy. I can't watch anything Jet Li from Shaolin Temple 3 on.
Really?
I mean, I can watch it,
Uh-huh.
but it's like Shaolin Temple 1, 2, and 3. Oh my God.
They're so good.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
And then you watch, I mean, Fist of Legend I can live with, but Fong Sai-yuk and
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time in China, I totally understand. It's a great realm that they created. It's a great photography. It's a great script. It's great. It's great in terms of even symbolically. It's a good movie, but
Right.
it's not, it's not to my
Interesting.
as well.
Yeah, I find Fist of Legend it's my favorite of Jet Li's like new wave martial art movies.
Let me think of it this way. I mean, I love movement.
Yeah.
Fitness is my thing, even more than martial arts. I mean, not fitness, but movement.
Right.
So I like to watch the movement. If
Yes.
they rob me out of the movement, out of the natural human movement, and if they put a lot of shenanigans or a lot of flamboyancy in the movements and huge jumps and flying around the stage, or I can't. To me, it's just like, oh, they ruined it for me. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. No, I can totally get that.
Even on Drunken Master 1, remember when he's lying down and then he comes up like this, boom, like a plank.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, it's like, oh man, don't do that, please. I'm glad they only did it once.
Right. You like to see what those guys can actually do.
Yeah.
Right.
I once heard Rob Schneider, the Deuce Bigelow.
Yes.
He said something interesting, which is, once you try to do something believable, even in action, and you see something unbelievable, something a little too gibberish,
Right.
the audience is like, okay, I'll give you one.
Right.
But if you keep doing it like 2 and 3 times, it's like, okay, I'm done with this.
Yes.
Yes. If you try to make it believable,
Right.
unless it's wuxia or something that is meant to be,
Yeah. You put it in another world.
Yeah, you put
Right.
it in
The
another
rules are
world.
not our rules.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Interesting.
But if you start with something like Drunken Master, and you have many of those situations in which no human being would be able to do that, it's like,
What do you
I'll
think
give
of
you one.
in terms of like, movies that other people like that you may not like or whatever, like overrated? What do you think of No Retreat, No Surrender?
I love
Interesting.
it. I love it.
Because
Because I know it's not believable. I mean,
no, the
none
ghost
of it is
Bruce,
believable
the ghost of
anyways,
Bruce
because
Lee's
it's fight
totally
choreography,
believable.
but
Yeah.
the ghost of Bruce
Yeah,
Lee.
but being coming back Korean and speaking in dubbed English is totally real.
You asked me to come.
Yes, Lee Daga, you called me.
Lee
Right?
Daga!
Yes,
I don't know. It's just, it's got heart.
yes,
It's got heart. You can definitely see the mistakes. You can see like the wire, the mics. You can see the mics like a couple times in the movie. You can see a lot of mistakes. You can see terrible acting, but it's got heart.
right.
It's the mixture of the songs of the boy who felt like we all did feel.
Yeah,
When we started doing martial arts, a lot of people started because they were bullied and stuff like that.
Right.
So they want to get revenge.
Yeah.
Or they want to be the cool kid in the
Right.
yard. And then it's
I remember when that movie was called Karate Kid.
Karate Tiger.
No, I mean, like, it's very clearly also a ripoff of the Karate Kid.
I think it's a ripoff of the Karate Kid.
That is almost an uncontroversial statement to say
it's
that.
the year after. It's 85,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Karate Kid is 84.
So the
my
idea
year birth.
of being bullied by the karate guys and then having to find a mentor, an Asian mentor, and then coming back and winning in the tournament.
But
All
to
right.
be
Yeah.
Bruce Lee.
It's Kung Fu, it's Bruce Lee, but they
Yeah.
took Karate Kid and they put a supernatural twist to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
You don't like No Retreat, No Surrender.
no,
Don't
I think
tell
No Retreat, No Surrender is great.
It's great.
But I totally understand like what it is. And it was a great like kind of first film for Van Damme to kind of like showcase him a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought he was great as Ivan the Russian.
Yeah.
I thought Kurt
Looks scary.
I thought Kurt McKinney, who later went on to do a bunch of soap opera stuff.
Yeah.
It would have been great to see him do a bunch more martial arts
Yeah,
stuff.
you
I
can
thought he
definitely
was
see that he's got some
really
wheel
good.
kicks. He's got some kicks. I think he did the taekwondo.
Yeah, no, he
so
was.
you
he
can
was
definitely
really quite
see that
good.
he was an actor who trained in the
right,
martial arts.
right. But I think maybe the best scene in the film is probably the rap with RJ.
Yeah. I'm a
Yeah.
lover. Women to my right, women to my left. I'm right. I'm really the mean. I'm bad. Right?
Was that it?
Amazing.
No,
Is
no,
it-
no, 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 no.
That's the
That-
is that the Portuguese version?
That's when he's
I-
riding
all
a
I remember-
skateboard.
I rap to the beat, so watch my
So
feet.
watch my feet. Dun,
and
Dun, dun,
then he
dun.
tries to climb up the shelves
I
and they
tried to
fall
find
apart.
all those soundtracks, and there's actually the soundtrack, the full soundtrack. It's on YouTube. So
Of No Retreat, No
of
Surrender.
No Retreat, No Surrender.
Wow, incredible.
Even
incredible.
songs like the ones where he gets his ass kicked in the pool party, because I always love it. It's got this sound like a don 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 don
Wow.
don 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 don.
You really are a nut.
That sound is so 80s to me. It's like
Uh-huh.
my childhood is
Uh-huh.
there. It's heartfelt.
Right, right.
So I much prefer something that is not perfectly executed but is heartfelt than something that is very well executed but has no heart,
Right. That makes sense.
like John Wick. I didn't.
You
say
just had to slip it in
Oh
there, didn't
my
you?
God, this guy's
You just
crazy.
had to slip it in.
Okay, so I feel I need to retaliate at this point. for
Let me just
all
say
the
that it's
shit
it's
talking.
perfectly executed, so
Yeah.
that people don't kill me on the comment section or something.
Right.
Kill me on the comment section.
Speaking of overrated crap that you like, the Bruce Lee exploitation movies.
I don't like them all. I never bought, for example, I never bought Bruce Lee too much, but Bruce Lee, I
Mhm.
think, is a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great guy. And Bruce Lee, the man, the myth, have you
Mhm.
seen it?
Unfortunately,
Is a great. You
that's
don't
what
like it?
that's what everyone tells me. That's what even my good friend Vincent Benitez, all right, who's a JKD guy, and has like every reason to not like that kind of stuff. He's like, oh no, like that one is okay.
But do you look at it like trying to find actual history lesson? Don't
No,
do
I
it.
mean, I realize that, Yip Man
It's
and
obviously
Bruce Lee,
bullshit.
the man, the myth, and Dragon the Bruce Lee. So these things are not documentaries. I understand
Yeah.
that. But then I'm looking for then what is their value? It should be in entertainment.
Yeah.
And
okay.
then I'm forced to live in a world where this guy named Bruce Lee was essentially in real life one of his characters from one of his films. And I don't see the heart in that. And for me, look, it's the
Yeah,
only
I get
it's
it.
the only genre where like when Elvis died, okay? When people do Elvis impersonations, it's always kind of looked at as kind of funny, kind of hokey, kind of like, oh, you go to a Vegas show, there's an Elvis impersonator, right? But it would be like, okay, after Elvis died, there's a spate of like Elville Predley and Elvin Presley, and
yeah.
and they all sing songs in his kind of style, but it's not the same songs. And you're told, yeah, watch this. You like Elvis, watch this.
Yeah.
And I'm
yeah.
going like, no, I think, Jackie's struggling for a number of years because they tried to make him right away. They tried to make him like New Fists of Fury, like another
Yeah.
Bruce Lee. Those films really sucked. But then when they figured out what Jackie was good at, namely Kung Fu comedy, then he stood out. And then it's like, oh, this is something new. But all these like, we're going to try to sell a fake Bruce Lee to Westerners who don't know the difference between they don't know that this is not the same Chinese guy.
I totally understand what you're saying.
And then it's going to be knockoffs of the same stories, or we're going to kind of pretend like it's the real guy, or he's coming back from the dead, or he's to fight zombies, or he's to fight Dracula, or whatever. Again, I feel insulted from the first frame to the end. Now, I watched the documentary, the great documentary about the Bruce Lee, the exploitation genre.
Me too. Yeah.
And I thought it was a fantastic documentary.
great one,
I
yeah.
gained a new appreciation for why that happened.
Uh-huh.
And I no longer think that those actors were assholes for doing it, because I understand that it was a gig. They're trying to work.
Yeah.
I still don't like the movie.
And Ho Chung Tao, the Bruce Lee character, he always says that I don't like to be Bruce Lee. I like to be Ho Chung Tao. I like to be myself.
Right.
but it
Right.
was a way of always obviously getting noticed and stuff.
Yeah.
And Bruce Lee, the Man, the Myth, at least did or tried to do a biography. So it wasn't like Bruce Lee fights back from the grave, which is another one, by the way.
Yes.
And what's funny about that is that the Ree brothers, Simon Ree and Philip Ree,
Mhm.
it was their first movie. There's a fight scene in the parking lot. That's the first time they appear ever in a movie, which is quite cool.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, No Retreat, No Surrender is a Bruce exploitation film,
Yes.
if you think about it.
For sure. So Zoe's Game of Death for that.
And I
matter.
don't think it's like I could definitely see that some of them might be a little disrespectful
Uh-huh.
in terms of grabbing the character Bruce Lee and putting him like now he's gonna fight 7 landlords or 7
Seven landlords.
landlords.
I want to see that.
The 7 mafia landlords that are stealing salt from the seas, whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Stealing salt. Yeah.
But
I would actually watch that movie. by the way.
yeah, I would too.
Uh-huh.
But in terms of since Bruce Lee, the Man, the Myth, at least tried to convey a little bit of Bruce Lee's story,
Uh-huh.
even though there's a lot of bullshit in
It's all
between.
bullshit.
It's very high budget too.
Yeah.
They went all over to Italy. They went to Thailand. They went all over the place to shoot that film.
Right. Yeah. I still
Yeah.
hate it though.
Seattle,
Still
San
hate it.
Francisco,
Yeah.
Hong Kong, obviously.
Right. Detroit. Yeah.
You see, I
And
get
it's got a
the-
great soundtrack, Mikey.
Of course, it's got.
You're
a
gonna
great
appreciate
soundtrack.
this.
Oh yeah.
Bob James.
Oh, of course, Bob James. Anyone that doesn't know who Bob James is, well, just leave now. No, I'm kidding. You should actually check out.
Go
you,
to the
you
album
should absolutely
3.
know who Bob James is. I'm disappointed that you don't.
I know Bob Jones.
Look, you love hip hop. Bob James has been well sampled across the whole of the hip hop community for years and years and years.
Is that the song that's sampled in Ice Ice Baby?
Yes. Anyway, we could go on about this question for hours. In fact, I strongly suggest that we come back to this for a full episode at some point because
sure.
we have barely touched on the 90s or the 2000s.
That's
and
right.
The 2010s. Yeah, man, 4. Anyway, guilty pleasures.
Hey everyone, it's the Kung Fu Genius. Fans and practitioners all know that the wooden dummy is the most coveted tool in Wing Chun, and now you can learn all about it in my cleverly titled book, The Wooden Dummy. I wrote this guide with you, the practitioner, in mind. Rather than mystifying any of the concepts or hiding so-called secrets, I've laid it all out in meticulous detail. The book is contextualized for practitioners of any lineage of the art, not just those who come from WT. Over 300 pages in length, The Wooden Dummy breaks down every aspect from the form, both technical, historical, theoretical details, and it makes it the perfect companion for anyone who's learning the wooden dummy techniques. I've even sweetened the deal for you. If you want to get a copy of this book signed by me, just use the coupon code SIGNATURE when you purchase the unsigned copy, and you will get the signed copy at no additional cost. So go to the link below or go to citywingchun.com/shop. Look up the Wooden Dummy book. Don't miss your chance. This is definitely one of the best books I've ever written on the Wooden Dummy, and I hope you'll find it's the best book ever written on the Wooden Dummy. Get yours today. Check it out. Ooh, guilty pleasures.
I'd say
Hitman 4.
No Retreat, No Surrender is definitely a guilty pleasure because I know it's not a wonderfully made movie.
Right.
Uh,
The Last Dragon is a guilty pleasure for a lot of people because
yeah,
because it's like so dated to that 80s and that music genre.
yeah.
Like the whole idea, like, let's make a movie and promote the latest music sensation, which is going to be out of date 6 months from now anyway. But let's go like all in with it, right? So like the DeBarge, like we're just going to show the video in the middle of the movie.
I love how they stop and listen. Let's watch a music video right
Yes,
now.
and then-
Listen to the rhythm of the night.
and then Vanity's like awful Seventh Heaven song,
Yeah, oh my
which
God,
is
yeah,
like,
that's terrible.
if she just wasn't so gorgeous, I
Oh,
would
God.
have to leave the room every
Yeah,
time like
yeah,
that
yeah.
that part came on. That
That's-
always feels like a guilty
That's
pleasure.
the whole thing. The whole of that soundtrack is kind of like mediocre, except for the Rhythm of the Night, which is an absolute classic. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Oh come on, we got The Glow is a great
No,
song.
The Glow is a great song. Willie
Yeah.
Hutch.
Yeah,
It's not a terrible song.
you
That's a
are
great
the
song.
last dragon.
Yeah, that's
When you reach
that's
that
the one from the
final
beginning. Yeah.
level, that's the
Your
other one.
mind, body, and soul. Yes.
When you reach the final level, your body, mind, and soul must be one.
Mind, body, and soul, sir.
Huh?
Mind, body, and soul.
Your
Your
mind,
mind,
body, and soul must be one.
Didn't you say body, mind, and soul?
No, your body, mind.
Oh,
Your mind, body, and soul. Anyway, it's the same ingredients: body, mind, soul. Who cares what's put first?
You can tell he's not a
it's
Wing
the
Chun
rice,
guy
it's
because
the
he doesn't
mushrooms.
futz those details. Wing Chun guys would have technical discussions for hours on the difference between is it mind, body, and soul or body, mind, and soul, and which one did Yip Man say was
is
the
it
real
Gong
one?
Chao Chung Chung or is it Hong Hong Chung
Yeah.
Hao?
The kind of very pedantic conversations we have here. All right, what else you got for us, Mikey?
Guilty
All right.
pleasures.
Wow. Okay. No. So we did guilty pleasures very quickly. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Would you
Straight away.
consider blood sport a guilty pleasure?
Yes, I think so.
No.
In terms of, I mean, okay, there's the script and the movie itself, there's the story, and then there's the fights.
Right.
I don't like the fights. I never liked the fights.
Uh-huh.
I like the story. I like the
set
the
pieces.
ambiance.
Yes.
the Hong Kong rough ambiance of
Kowloon Walled
you
City.
might
and
fight to
everything.
the death.
Right.
You might not make it out of this
That's
tatami.
right.
You know?
You Texan? You look like a Texan. All right. Yes. I think it's a guilty pleasure depending on who I'm showing it to. Like when I show it to my girls, I'm like, this is standard education. You're growing up in the house of the Kung Fu genius. You must watch Bloodsport. But like when I have adult friends who never saw it, I'm like, all right, this thing is like totally ridiculous, but you have to watch it. Right. So I think it depends on who I'm showing it to.
Yeah.
Right. It can feel more like a guilty pleasure depending on
Jim Kata.
Ooh, Jim Kata.
You see, Jim Carter, I wanted to bring up in the previous section about
Yeah,
worst martial arts.
I think so too. But I mean, somebody just stop in the middle of the middle of the fight because there's a what do you call it? The
pommel horse.
It's
the horse. It's a
horse,
horse,
yeah.
right? It's the horse to do a flare.
Yeah.
Thomas flare. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, it's just like
I remember
it's so ridiculous.
I
that
remember
it's-
watching that in preparation for the interview we did with the late Richard Norton, whom you also had Richard Norton on your podcast
Yes,
as well, right?
yes.
And watching that, and then Richard had mentioned, Bay Logan mentioned it recently when we did the tribute to Richard Norton, but you know, Robert Klaus wanted to do something like what Jackie Chan did with the acrobatics and that kind of movement, and then so you know. You get a gold medalist, Olympic gymnast to do it. But then he said the difference was he literally couldn't do any of that stuff without the apparatuses. Whereas Jackie
Too
Chan,
specialized.
Jackie Chan could walk into this room and look at the counter there and look around and figure out something and how to put his skills together. But like the gymnast, and it's like I need like parallel bars and I need like the uneven bars and I need a pommel horse. Otherwise, you get nothing out of me, right? And it was interesting that there was no, and that's why they had to put the pommel horse in the middle, because he literally couldn't showcase anything if he didn't have like official regulated gymnastics standard equipment in front of him.
That's
right?
actually a great topic, which I'm dwelling on it lately, which is specialization versus being versatile.
Right.
And I believe that, for example, you are much even better at Wing Chun that you already were because you surround yourself with other elements and you do physical fitness, you do strength and conditioning, you do. I mean, we are human beings as a whole. You know, we're not just machines or robots to go on one direction.
Is this how you're making it up to him for not liking No Retreat, Drunken Master 2?
He can never make it up.
Wouldn't you say that about music, for example? I heard that musicians, the best musicians, know a little bit of everything. Maybe not the perfect pianist, but you get to be a better pianist because you already know how to play the sax. Does it make sense?
Well, if you're into music, in my younger years when I had time, like it was like I started playing guitar and then I just picked up everything.
Yeah.
Because I had the time to do it, and I was actually very good at a lot of instruments. Life gets
So you
back
became good at
into it.
music,
Yes,
not just guitar,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. You know what I mean? And you know, my record collection is very kind of like
Yeah.
eclectic over the years. You
Right.
know what I mean? I still buy vinyl,
Even though
because
you
I'm
don't like Phil Collins, and I hate you for that.
See,
So-
there's some controversy right there. Phil Collins sucks.
Okay, so Kurt Thomas and Jackie Chan.
Yes.
Uh,
It's also possible for people who are very intelligent to just be wrong about stuff.
yeah, of course.
Yes.
I don't even talk to him.
Yes.
Jackie Chan is the epitome of being well-rounded. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think him and obviously like the other Seven Little Fortunes, Yun Bu and
Yeah.
Sammo Hung, they've proven, I think that's the versatility that's allowed them to have careers for so long. because, you know, as much of a fan as I am about Bruce Lee, like, how many more years could Bruce Lee have continued making movies in that vein before people got kind of tired of them? Would he have been able to reinvent himself? Because, you know, his whole thing was speed and the quick kicks and the punches and stuff. And at some point, I mean, he did want to go behind the camera, but let's say Bruce continued making films. I mean, how is he going to reinvent himself physically? Or is he then going to, you know, go more into James Bond and guns and shooting and
That
things
is
like
so
that?
true
Right?
because he was relying too much on that intensity.
Yes.
And I'm not sure he would be perceived as, you know, there are some actors that whenever they try to do comedy, it's like, nah.
Yes. Right.
For example, I think Brad Pitt in comedy doesn't work.
Uh-huh.
What do you
Really?
think?
Even like something like Snatch?
He was great in Snatch.
But Snatch is like, yeah, it's comedy, but it's comedy,
British,
obviously.
it's
But
British.
it's a dark comedy. It's
Right.
not.
Uh-huh.
Whenever I see him trying a little bit harder to be funny,
Right.
oh, there was this movie. I think it was with Jamie Lee Curtis as well. I don't remember the name, but I saw him trying to be funny. I was like, huh, that's funny.
Right.
It's funny how he's not funny.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But
Oh, but by the way, speaking of, like, I know we're kind of ping ponging back and forth, but in terms of like overrated movies, like, do you understand people who like The Forbidden Kingdom, or are you one of them?
No, of course not. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
I
Like-
never even watched the whole movie. I just watched the fight.
Yeah, people got really excited about that one, and I watched it in the theater, and I didn't get it. I'm like, yeah, Jackie Chan and Jet Li in a movie is cool, but not that, but not that, right?
Well, whatever they did after a certain period, yeah, it doesn't speak to my heart.
What do you think of Skip Trace with Johnny Knoxville and Jackie Chan?
That's amazing.
Oish.
Maybe some of the best things, just so people don't think that I'm just a nostalgic freak who doesn't like anything that's done now, even though, okay. I really love The Raid.
Yes,
Oh,
Fights
yes.
like The Raid.
John
Raid
Wick.
2.
I like what Brent Foster's doing now. I like, which is a little bit more brutal, but you can definitely see that as his ability. I
John Wick.
I like Scott Adkins' way of fighting as well, because you can definitely see that is his movement, and they don't want the bullshit in between.
Right.
You know, I like that type of violence.
What's your favorite Sammo Hung movie? Let's say from the old school. Let's say
Eastern
from
Condors.
You like Eastern Condors?
I love Eastern Condors.
Yeah.
I would love to be in the jungle with them kicking ass.
Yeah, and he was like really trim in that film, and yeah,
Trim? Wait, trim?
yeah, compared to like he lost a lot of weight for that movie
Okay,
compared to his normal.
Yeah, he's more
his normal
trim.
stuff.
Yeah. Trimmer.
Yeah, trimmer. Yeah, and
Everybody's great in that movie.
Yunhua in the end.
Yunhua.
There's the villain is so great. Yeah,
Kurata Yasuaki. Oh, Yasuaki Kurata.
Yep.
Is it Yasuaki Kurata that does? Who's the guy that does that taco fall? He gets kicked by Samo Hong in that front kick, that boot front kick. And he does that. No, it's not Kurata Yasuaki. It's someone else, I think. It's an amazing fall.
What about Sammo Hung's more recent films? Did you see like Twilight? Was it like Twilight of the Warriors or something like that? Or
I didn't see that
What
one.
is that one called? Yeah, I think it is. It's in the Kowloon Walled City.
I still need to see that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It had a little supernatural element in it, which Twilight of the Warriors walled in, which I wasn't like too crazy about. But otherwise, pretty solid. SPL, like
Sapolong,
yes.
yeah.
SPL is
Great
the
fight.
nuts.
yeah.
Great fight.
And
yeah.
obviously, he's a Wing Chun nerd. I love Prodigal Son. I love Magnificent Butcher. And my favorite fight scene in Magnificent Butcher is not even the Sammo Hung fight scene. It's Kwanta King versus Lei Hai Sung, but the calligraphy fight scene. I can just watch that again and again.
Yeah,
It's
that one's great.
fucking amazing.
I was thinking about Pedicab Driver as well.
Pedicab Driver's great.
You could definitely feel his intensity there, his power and his kicks.
And the only time you see Sammo Hung and Lau Kao Leung in a fight scene together.
Yeah, exactly.
And that scene was
yeah.
amazing. And the two of them, they're like bantering back and forth and talking shit. Like at the beginning of the fight, like they're fist fighting.
Yeah.
And Samo, like, he's getting beat up a little bit, but then he gets like a little bit of an edge over Lau Kao Leung, and then he says like, Kun Pa Siu Zhong, like in fist fighting, you fear the younger, more aggressive fighter, right? Which is a famous kung fu saying, right? In fist fighting, you favor the younger, aggressive fighter. And then they continue fighting, and the poles come out. And then they start fighting with the poles. And the second half of that Chinese maxim is like "Guan Pa Lo Long," which is in pole fighting, you fear the old wolf.
Oh,
And then
wow.
because then Lau Kar Leung gets the upper hand, and then he says, "Ha, in pole fighting, you fear the older man," right? Like the older guy, the old wolf. And so it's like they have this like duel where they're kind of talking shit to each other while it's going on, and the choreography is just off the chain.
Do you prefer, in terms of directing, do you prefer Sammo Hung or Jackie Chan?
I like Sammo Hung.
I think I'm more of a
style.
Sammo Hung kind
Yeah.
of guy.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's a little bit more childish. He goes on to a little bit more childish or basic realms. My Lucky Stars, Twinkle Twinkle Lucky Stars, and stuff. But Jackie Chan goes to Police Story, goes to, you know,
Right.
it's a little bit more. I think Jackie is a little bit more grown-up-y.
Yes.
That's the only word that comes to mind right now. But yeah, I think Sammo Hung speaks a little more to me. Maybe because I grew up watching,
Yeah.
and I was like 13, 14, 15 years old watching those movies.
I think
so
the thing with
probably-
Sammo Hung is like, you know, like for example, you see like his fight with Richard Norton,
Oh,
and
Twinkle, Twinkle,
it's
Lucky Stars.
so hard hitting.
yeah.
But then like in the same movie, he'll fight with tennis
Yeah,
rackets.
tennis rackets.
You know what I mean? And it's like it's so like you get like, especially in those older films, within one film, you would just get so much out of one movie. Fist fighting, stunts, weapons, comedy. He's not taking himself too seriously. He's kind of like the everyman who's just kind of gutting it through, always outmatched. In a similar way to that, you know, Jackie Chan would have a lot of those tropes too. But when you see this like chubby guy doing it, there's something just a lot more endearing about that
Yeah.
in terms of like the everyman, you know?
Yeah.
All right, you two are agreeing way too much.
Oh, here we go.
We have to
Alright.
agree a little bit.
Nah, you're agreeing a lot, and I don't like it.
Hey,
So-
want to see blood?
You know, and I had a great segue for this about 10 minutes ago before you went off on another tangent. So, worst JCVD. I'll start. Bloodsport.
Worst JCVD.
I'm kidding. Bloodsport is not the worst JCVD.
Well, he's done a bunch of like straight to video movies since his career, you know, kind of tapered off a little bit after
Yeah,
Time
yeah.
Cop. And I can't say that I've seen any of those, but I'm sure some of them are.
Maybe we should stick to his golden era, because I've seen a lot of those, and they are just as bad as you would expect, but they're also wonderfully B-movie schlocky, like he did one with Dolph Lundgren about, I guess, 10 years ago. Typical thing. He's like an aging, like kind of agent, gets kidnapped, has to escape.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
I saw
And,
bits of it.
you know-
I don't like The Quest.
I never saw The Quest, but
I
I always
think
thought
The
it was
Quest-
just some kind of Bloodsport like
The only
rehash.
things I like about The Quest is that there are two fighters there that put on a show. The one is the Cesar Carneiro, who's a Brazilian guy from Capoeira,
Uh-huh.
who's actually now an MMA coach. And he coached a couple of UFC fighters, I think. So the guy is amazing. The guy physically is amazing. He does a lot of, you know, Capoeira moves, and it looks very, very good. And there's this Chinese guy who does the monkey style and does the snake style. And the other actor, the American actor that's standing next to Van Damme, he's watching the guy doing it. It's like, it looks like a monkey. And then later on, no, he's a snake. So it's pretty funny. And the bad guy is Abdel Kissi, brother to Mohamed Kissi, who
Uh-huh.
plays obviously Dong Po in Kickboxer.
Yeah.
But the movie is like,
The thing-
it's not a good.
No, it's a terrible movie, but the thing I love about that movie is that Roger Moore's in it.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and he's just Roger Moore, but like a bad guy Roger Moore. Like he's a
Yeah.
cad. Like he's like the captain that steals the
Yeah, he's
golden
like
dragon.
he's like a very evil, like
Yeah.
like
He's like a con
a
man.
leech, like
Yeah.
he just wants the money. He just wants
Yeah.
it like a con artist, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and then Van Damme in the end just saves his life, fights so he can get the dragon back.
Yeah,
Like it's because Van Damme's great, isn't he? And he's like pure of heart. But like, yeah, the movie sucked.
yeah.
You should watch it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to sacrifice it. My time now is
It's
very,
precious.
very precious. So,
Yeah.
like,
Followed by Time Cop, which is awesome.
uh-huh. I don't know. I think most of Jean-Claude Van Damme's early films are pretty awesome. And
I
maybe
did like the one with Dennis Rodman as well. What's the name? Double Team.
you would like that one.
It wasn't Double Team. It was oh god, now I can't remember.
It's a
It is
terrible
Double
movie.
something. Oh, I was just thinking about that as being the other movie.
It's
and I'm
not the
just
Double
like,
Team. No,
I
no.
think it's I think it's called Double Team. It's called
Double Team. It is
It
called
is
Double
Double
Team.
Team.
It
Yes,
is, right?
yes, yes,
Oh,
yes.
that movie sucks.
Yeah. Mikey was thinking about another film from another genre with the same title.
Oh, Double Impact.
Double
No,
Impact.
No,
that's-
that one's good.
That's
That
the one I was talking
good.
about. Thinking about Double
That one's
Impact.
good.
Yes.
Because of my long legs and karate, I can do the splits, no problem. You know that scene
Yes, absolutely.
in the leotard?
Yes. Yes. just for the ladies.
Just for the ladies, yeah.
Yeah. Do you like Cyborg?
It's too sci-fi-ish for me.
Too sci-fi-ish?
Yeah, I'm-
Cyborg is so awesome.
Yeah, I think Cyborg is not bad. I mean, it's limited by, the special effects on the budget on the, when she takes off her head. Like, it's clearly like some claymation
Unless
bullshit.
it's Back to the Future, whenever it's sci-fi, I have to really force myself to watch because I'm not in that realm,
Uh-huh.
I watched 2001: Space Odyssey, which
Yeah.
I liked,
Right.
but it took me like 2 months to see it.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah?
I kept falling asleep.
completely off topic. Not a fan of Predator. Or
What?
yeah.
Did you just,
or Total Recall?
Did you just, Predator?
I like the Dylan. Boom.
You son
You
of a
son
bitch.
of a bitch. I like that. But the movie itself,
Too sci-fi for him, apparently.
my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. You know which one it is?
Twins.
How do you know that? I told you. I
Yeah.
told you in Hong Kong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Twins.
Get out of here.
Twins.
All right, I think I'm done.
Arnold and
I'm
DeVito.
done.
Arnold and DeVito. You can't beat that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you can. It's called Terminator 1. It's called Terminator 2.
Yeah, no,
it's called
Terminator 2.
Predator.
Terminator 2 is
Yeah.
a fantastic movie.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
got-
Also sci-fi,
No, yeah,
by
that's
the
the
way.
best
Yeah,
Arnold.
yeah.
Terminator 2 is. I just rewatched it and it's even better.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, I can't believe somebody did.
I almost thought he was going to say Junior.
I can't believe somebody did this and Game Changers, the vegan documentary. Oh my God,
Mm.
how come
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just yeah. Well,
But
'cause it's
Predator?
you like you
Yeah.
love Predator?
What? What? Why are you acting like that's a controversial thing?
I don't know. It's like
What don't you like about Predator?
Yeah.
It's just
The
not-
cast
What?
is awesome.
The cast is awesome.
The
cast is awesome.
story is awesome.
Get to the chopper.
The
and
action
you come
is
get me.
amazing.
Come get me.
The pacing of the film is great. The script is tight. It's so well done. And the only thing that is wrong with Predator
Is the opening scene?
is the opening scene.
Yes, that everyone talks about. Had they not shown the alien spaceship landing on Earth, then it would have been a straight horror movie because you don't know what that thing is that's killing everyone,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And they kind
yeah.
of gave it away that it's like an alien, right? Had they
Uh-huh.
just cut that out, it would have been like a straight horror movie where you just find the reveal at the end is when you finally see him. And
I
you
kind
don't
of
even
have
know.
to watch it with another lens. Then
Yeah,
I kinda
yeah.
have to watch it
The
with
lens of
another
of a
mindset.
normal person who was watching that movie.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not that I don't. Yeah, I just don't feel it that much. I feel twins.
And on that sexy bombshell,
My name is Julius, and I'm your twin brother.
you forgot the second
And she
rule.
was so beautiful. She was so beautiful.
What about? I was going to say, Kindergarten
Preston.
Cop is the most overrated martial arts.
I
movie.
love it.
Kindergarten. Well, see,
Kindergarten. It's not a
Kindergarten-
tuba.
Kindergarten Cop is fantastic,
It is. Ah,
but like not at the expense of Predator.
okay. Another one that I don't like, and some people like. Okay, Tango and Cash.
Okay, I haven't seen
Too
Tango.
itsy bitsy. Too.
I haven't seen
much.
Tango and Cash since,
And I love them both.
1991, probably. So I can't I haven't seen it as.
I
an
think if you
adult.
watch it again, it's gonna be like, oh, too much.
right, wasn't like Terry Hatcher in there?
Yeah, pretty sure she.
Did she
yeah,
play his
yeah,
sister or something like that?
Yeah, no, pretty sure she's in that one. It's one of her very first roles.
And wasn't there like a gratuitous nude scene, like a butt naked scene in that movie or something?
But it was the 80s.
I'm not
and
sure if
90s.
it's
there was
Gina-
always a gratuitous.
Gina Gershon or
No,
is it
I
Terry
don't-
Hatcher?
I think so.
I don't remember.
I think
don't
so. She
remember.
plays Sylvester Stallone's sister or something, and then the other one is
Oh,
trying to mac
right.
on her or something like that. I think.
Mac.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah,
just,
yeah,
it's classic Kurt Russell and Sylvester Stallone. It's like fantastic.
One that I hadn't watched in years, and I
Mhm.
freaking love it. Bruce Willis, Last Boy Scout.
The
Boy
Last
Scout?
Boy Scout.
The
yeah,
Last
yeah.
Boy Scout. Oh
Mm.
my God, that's an amazing movie.
I haven't seen that in many,
Oh
many
man,
years.
you gotta watch it again. It's
Do
such
you?
an amazing movie.
You're not a fan of Shaw Brothers films, though, right?
I am
Oh, you are. Okay.
not a diehard fan, but
Uh-huh.
a fan.
So,
So like
Nevertheless.
Die Hard? No, I'm kidding.
So
My-
favorite Shaw
Oh,
Brothers.
for sure, Heroes of Thieves.
Oh, yeah.
I love that movie.
All right.
I think everything is perfect about that movie.
I think you have redeemed yourself with that.
Yeah. Lau
Uh,
Garlung at his best. I
yeah.
mean, how does that guy choreographed.
Pretty sure you meant to say the one-armed swordsman.
No.
Heroes of the
because
East, I think, is not only one of the best, it's also completely underrated. Like people, like obviously 36 Chambers or Five Deadly Venoms.
To
like
me,
those
it's
are
not
the ones
as
that
good,
people
but
talk about.
it's very good. But
Yeah.
it's not as good.
No, Heroes of the East, I think it is a pure martial arts. It's a martial arts porn from beginning to end.
Yeah.
The story is just loosely put together to set up the next fight.
Yeah.
But it does it so well. The choreography is so amazing. The
And
message
the
is really
mixture
good.
of styles, all the weapons. I mean, who does that? Who gets to be creative and knowledgeable enough to mix all those styles together?
I know.
Japanese and Chinese.
I know.
It's crazy.
Lau Kai Leung did it with martial arts films. Phil Collins did it with music.
Yes.
And that's all I got to say about that. All right, everyone. Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode of The Kung Fu Genius. As always, don't forget to subscribe to The Kung Fu Genius. Hit that bell for notifications. Support us on Patreon or here on YouTube with memberships. All that information is in the description below. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.
Word is I'm a kung fu genius. Technique speaks for me, not lineage. Forget Jet Li, cause I'm the one. Many call me Sifu, but to you I'm Si-Kung. And I produce masters. You surpassed us. Your kung fu stiffer than corpse and caskets. City Wing Chun is the house I built. Violate the gate and your blood gets spilt. Alex, Richter, always the victor.
Phil Collins did it with music.
Yes.
And that's all I got to say about that.
Motherfucker.
All right, peeps, on this new episode of The Kung Fu Genius. It's like I'm making love to the mic.
No, please do your thing.
That's not what he says in the end.
No.
What does he say? It says,
Because let's get to it.
Oh, let's get to it. Sorry. You want me to do it again?
No.
No. The tit foo was amazing.